The year was 2017, November. I was just finishing up some reports from a previous client. The kid had autism spectrum disorder, as if everyone doesn't have that these days. It's practically a diagnostic du jour. Either way, I could see it in his eyes. Or rather, not in his eyes. When in walks a distressed woman. Early to mid-20s. Pretty face, legs for hours. Clearly had been crying her eyes out. She'd looked like she'd been dragged through a hedge backwards, and I don't blame her. It's raining cats and dogs out there.
What's the problem, Dollface?
You're the famous cook, aren't you?
You got her.
It's my son, Carter. He's 2 years old and he's got about as much vocabulary as a lobster in a library. He won't even look at me. In fact, I don't even think that he knows I exist half the time.
Does he play by himself a lot?
Yes.
Just as I suspected.
Tell me about a typical day with your son.
What, from the time he gets up in the morning?
Let's just start with a typical play interaction.
Well, he doesn't look at me when we're playing together. He never smiles back. He only focuses on the toy, like I'm not even there. Like last month, I bought him a brand new toy, a shiny red car. And when I tried to get him to play with it, he didn't pay any attention to it. He just wanted to keep playing with his blocks.
His facial expressions. Does he have any?
Now that you mention it, no.
When you talk to Carter, does he seem to understand you?
Sometimes. It's hard to tell. I'm not sure if he can't understand me or if he just doesn't care. I have to repeat myself a lot before he finally complies. And sometimes that doesn't even happen.
Well, Mrs.
The
I'm afraid...
name's Tortellini.
Mrs. Tortellini, I'm afraid my caseload is full. I can refer you to your local school district SLP.
But Miss Cope, you just gotta help me out. I heard you're working with electropalatography for your thesis. I know, guy.
She had a point. I'd been looking for an EPG supplier for a while now.
Mrs. Tortellini, I'll take the keys.
Oh, thank you, thank you. You won't regret it.
Hello, my name is Sima Gerber.
Sima, it's me. Remember that favor I did for you a while ago? It's time to cash in.
He's coming right here to Queen's College. Oh no! Oh no! I better hide!
Well, you know what they say, Sima. I scratch your back, and you scratch mine.
Okay, so to recap,
I have a case. The mother says he's not very engaged, and I immediately thought of you and your visual reality.
I've spent my life in this concrete merry-go-round, watching the same cases play out year after year, each a little different, but everyone wanting the same social communication, like a jukebox with only one sad song. It wears on you, but when you get through to that one kid, When you pull the brakes on that carousel hard, and a whole new world of options opens up, that's when the work feels fulfilling. That's when the new life begins. A social life that expands communication circles. And that's what I'm hoping for Carter. A second chance. At least, that's what the city's all about. What is language? How does it develop typically? What are the stages of language acquisition? What is the developmental context for learning language? I'll never forget what Sima said to me.
Ask ourselves at this point if our work with young children reflects these principles, simply by looking at the goals of our therapy. Considering the range of challenges that children with language and communication delays present with, goals focusing on affective development, social interaction, cognitive processing, developing meaning relations, etc., should be apparent, depending, of course, on the child's individual profile.
Developing language is the secondary goal in a case like this. No point in filling a jar that isn't interested in being opened. One must consider the modalities of pre-linguistic communication. For example, what is Carter's shared attention like? What holds those big, beautiful eyes of his? The gaze of the woman who gave him life? The one who holds all the marbles, literally in her hands, when she's playing with him? Or is his attention fleeting? Fleeting amongst the activities and exchanges of ideas during that work that children know as play. The attention will be a gateway to social interaction. The give and take nature of a reciprocal conversation with a child must flow in a yin and yang kind of way, swirling around in a range of emotional themes, with, at the very least, the boy's mother. But the way she recounted his lack of reciprocity makes it seem like those turns get lost in a whirlpool among the jetsam and flotsam of conversation. And what of his affect? It was extremely telling the way Mrs. Tortellini said those dreaded words.
Look at me when we're playing together. He never smiles back. He only focuses on the toy, like I'm not even there.
A child of his age should be able to run the spectrum of affective themes and states. Dependency, curiosity, power, anger, cooperation. His intentions are clearly being shown in the lack of negotiation with his mother. Isn't it curious that she can initiate social bids until she's blue in the face, and the boy won't even so much as cast a gaze in her direction? No. There are no shared intentions. They're all lost in translation. His sensory processing can't be an issue. We'd have a much bigger problem on our hands if the kid can't even localize sounds. A girl can only do so much if audition is in question. And of course, with no language, there are no forms, no meanings, no emergent discourse, and the proverbial god of irony laughs at the paradox of a child wanting to communicate, but without the faculties of how. December, a couple weeks later. It was a quiet night. Too quiet. The wind was so cold, it could cut you like a knife. I was relieved to see the Tortellini household not too far up Skid Row, on the south side of Provo.
Who is it?
It's me, Cope. I got the stuff.
Oh, thank goodness you came.
The room was in disarray. The worry of her child had clearly forced anything else by the wayside. But there he was, sitting in the middle of the room, worlds away from me, a tower of blocks between us. Carter.
eye contact.
This is going to be a long night.
Carter.
This is tortellini. Allow me. You want milk? Say milk, please. Say milk, please. Say milk, please. You want milk? Say milk, please. Say milk, please. Oh, you want your milk? Yeah, you're thirsty. Let's get you some milk. Here, let's play with Buzz Lightyear. Oh, yeah. Here, we're gonna play with Buzz Lightyear. Yep. Look, look at this one. Look. Woo! Come on, let's play with Buzz Lightyear. Come on. Here, play with Buzz. Here's Buzz. Oh, look, it's Buzz. Look, it's Buzz Lightyear. Ooh. Oh, what are you building? Tower? Should we knock it down? Should we knock the tower down? Oh, look how high it is. Let's see. Oh, no! Tower fell.
Turns out it would be a Merry Christmas after all for the Tortellinis. Carter and his mother have gotten everything they wanted, and everything they deserved.
God bless us, everyone.
Action.
It's my son, Carter. He's 2 years old and he's got about as much vocabulary as a lobster in the library. Sorry. I turned into a southern belle.
Why aren't you stroking your chin?
Are you filming?
Yeah, I was.
I thought you I'm sorry, I thought we were getting the positioning.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Let's start. Action.
What's the problem, Dollface? What's the problem, Dollface?
Action.
What's the problem, Dollface?
Action.
Carter! Carter!
Sorry,
Carter.
I don't want you to look at me. I want you to look at Carter.
Oh, you're down, that's right.
Good. No, it's good.
Because I took the camera. I think it's just the right amount.
Carter, put down those blocks and give me some eye contact. Eye contact. Come on, let's work on some eye contact. Eye contact.
Ooh. That was loud.
Sassy bird. Is what it's supposed to be.